Welcome to another bite-sized training tip for football officials. And in this edition, we're going to do something a little different because we're going to have a look at a coin toss. So what I've done is I've recorded this dummy coin toss, and I'm going to go through some of the things that I do during coin toss, and hopefully there will be some tips along the way that you can use. Now, first of all, what I like to do is I want to stay away from the 50-yard line until it's time to do the actual coin toss. So I stay with the umpire down around either on the sideline or down around the 40-yard line. And then when I move up to the 50, that is an indication to the sidelines that now we're actually going to start. And then we get the teams in. And what I like to do is, as you can see here, I like to stand on the 49, so that on the sidelines they can tell the coaches or the captains actually that the speaking captain is going to be on the 50, and then the other captains will be next to him. When we do that way, when they come in, they're standing on the 50. I'm next to the 50, so that we're standing correctly in relation to each other. What I like to do also is I always face the same way. So I always have the home team on my right side. That also makes it easier for the wings to get the speaking captain on the 50, but also lining up the rest of the captains the right way so that they don't have to move around and go down on one side of the 50 or the other side of the 50. I always have, like I said, the home team on the right side, so everybody knows it, and I tell them ahead of time. One thing that's a really good idea is to have the away team prepared to do this kind of a circle, so that you get the handshakes out of the way very quickly, and you don't end up in a situation where they're trying to shake hands and they're doing this almost little dance where they're trying to get their hands in and out of each other, and it just looks very disorganized. This little circle makes everything looks fine. And then next thing I make sure that I do is that I get everybody in close enough so they can see what's going on. Sometimes they line up very far from each other, and if they do that, I just ask them to take a couple of steps in. Next thing is I make sure that I show them the coin so that nobody has any doubts that which side is heads and which is tails. Sometimes if you have a coin that actually says heads and tails on it, it's very easy, but I just make sure that everybody has seen the coin before I flip it. I then ask the captain before I flip the coin, and I don't want to have the captain say his choice while the coin is in the air, because that opens up a whole, potentially a whole ugly can of worms in terms of did he say it clearly or didn't he. So I just make sure that he says what he wants before I flip it. Obviously, the umpire is there to witness it also. But what I do sometimes, if it's any kind of unclear, I ask the home team captain to repeat what he said, or did you hear that he said tails, or whatever it is, so that there's absolutely no confusion. Because that's where we get into a lot of trouble. Now, then we get to the coin toss. I like to practice it. If it's been a while since I was a referee, I practice flipping and catching the coin, because I don't want to look stupid when I drop the coin. And I like to catch it the way I just did on the video here, so I don't have to flip it over after I see what it is. So I try to catch it just like that. Then what I like to do is look at the coin first as the first one, and then in my mind figure out who lost the coin toss, and I'm going to show him the coin first. So I always show the loser first, because that way when I show the winner, I can stay over on his side, and I can very quickly indicate that he won the coin toss by tapping his shoulder. And then I can ask him, what do you want? Usually they know their options, so I just ask him what he wants. And if he says anything except I want to receive or I want to defer, I'm going to ask him again. In this situation, he elects to defer. So right away, I ask him, he wants to defer, I tap him, and I go defer signal. I do that right away, so that's out of the way. That means all the other officials now already know who has the second half option. And to be honest, for everybody else on the crew, that's as important as anything else. Then I go to the other team and I ask them, in this case, with the defer, then I'm going to say, okay, where would you like to receive from? Because they obviously want the ball. And even though he tries to say, I want to receive down there, I just tell him, okay, you want to receive. Let's go back to here. And then I ask, where would you like to kick from? I don't ask him in more vague terms. I use that phrase, where do you want to kick from? Because then he's going to point to where I'm going to turn them. So that he says, I want to kick from down here. Okay, let's turn around this way. So that he goes that way. And then I go to the winner. I always go to actually not necessarily the winner, but whoever's going to receive it. I am not going to repeat the defer signal because we already did that. So now all I have to do is go to the receivers, make the receiving signal, and now what I can do very easily after I've told the guys to have a good game, now I can just start backing up, and that will get me to my goal line. I don't get into any kind of confusion as to where I'm going because I already positioned myself with my receive signal facing the field the right way, and it's easy for me just to go ahead and back on down to the goal line nice and easy while the teams are getting ready. So basically that's what I try to do every single time I have a coin toss, so that I don't get into any kind of trouble in terms of what did the captain say. Did he say heads or tails, or heads tails, or anything like that? I try to flip the coin correctly so I don't get into any kind of situation where the coin didn't flip, and I try to line it up like this so I don't get confused in terms of where am I going to go and which team is going to receive. So that was it for the coin toss, and as always, thank you for watching.